Hi all, welcome back to more The Other Side of the Hill solo. It's my part 7. Still here the same day, so I'm getting a little bit done. Not quite sure this will be a full part before I have to get cut off, but we shall see. So we're going to start a new turn, I think, aren't we? Yeah, we're starting the summer 1940, summer administrative phase. So I don't have my tablet here, right? I'm using that for the cards and getting quite used to it. So I'll probably need to grab that. Well, hang on, what are we at? Bombing of Germany. Right, we know that. That's pretty straightforward. This is still in the 5 box, no effect. So nothing happens. Moving on. German replacements. Well, one thing I need to find out about is here. I get the feeling that we can't do anything there. Let's check our replacements. So we're going to get 3 Wehrmacht replacements, 2 Luftwaffe, which is still restricted to 2. None is strategic warfare, and we did lose a point, so that's going to be a bit of a shame. However, so replacements, let me just have a look. Yeah, so on page 10, under Wehrmacht replacements, the very final sentence there, as isolation, Wehrmacht replacements cannot be added to areas with an isolated marker. So that rules that out. I'm assuming we must be able to move armies into there though. But, I don't know. I know while it's isolated, I want to say that panzer armies get reduced to regular armies and regular armies get reduced to reduced armies, I think. Okay, so, well, if we can't move them to there, well, I should probably still find out if I can... Oh no, hold on here. We can't put German armies in Italy. Is that also... Does that include Libya? So that's under the Italy rules, isn't it? I want to say 8.1. Yeah, it's funny how certain numbers stick in your head. Eh? So... Independence, which is what we're still on with Italy, says no German armies can be deployed in any of Italy's home areas. Deployed, Grant. That was just deployed. Yeah, no mention of moving them. So I read that wrong. I was thinking that we could not have German armies in there. It just means that we can't deploy them there. Mind you, what is the deployed could be a similar thing. Deployed, yeah, that's how I read it at first. That no, we can't put German armies in the Italian home areas. Deployed. Now there is a bit at the beginning gives you a, what do you call it? Past it, gives you, common terms and glossary. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. Deployed. No, there's nothing under deploy. Well, if we look at intervention, which is the next sort of step up, it says a maximum of 1 German army may be in one single Italian home area at any given time, Libya included. So that kind of suggests that that deployed is meaning like put there by whatever means, whether it's moved there or where we're at just now, deploying. I mean, I would call this, we were deploying replacements. I would call that. Whereas I would, going by the word in there, I would feel like we could maybe move the units, move them into there, but I'm not so sure that is right. Let me maybe have a look at that. Okay, I'm pretty sure that deployed means put there from, you can't put reinforcements into there, or I can't move German armies into there. And I hope I've got that right. I may go and ask another question. Seems like an awful lot I'm asking. I did get one response back from SAS Lord. saying that he believes that what was my question about the air naval control? If it, because it's a special effect, can you use a general to cancel it, or does it need to be in the main combat role? Well, he just sort of says that it's within the combat role, but I think these are two sort of separate parts, because it does say in the rule, and I sent this back to him. The result in the combat card may include a special effect which must be resolved before the allied combat roll. But I don't know. You might still be able to cancel that. I get a feel. I don't know. That could go either way. I think. I'll wait and see if maybe the designer has a look at that one as well. Okay, so what are we going to be doing this summer? Well, yeah, I was having a look at our military directives, and clearly invasion of France, Belgium and Holland should be our priority. I think season of summer is a prerequisite, and we need to take Paris. Paris is here, so from that we can come through Belgium, Holland or southern France, so we can make the attack from either, I think. Well, hold on, Belgium, Holland's, yeah, I know that becomes active as well. So what we're going to end up with a Western Allied here, aren't we? So I don't think it makes too much difference. We've got 4 armies here. Well, mind you can have 5 there. And you're going to get 2 AG heads. So, well, that tells you something grand, doesn't it? That tells you that we should have our force in Belgium, Holland, I think. That's also going through a fortress. So can we avoid southern France and just go through Belgium, Holland? That looks like the way to do it. Well, France surrenders 4.7.1b. It's probably going to tell us about southern France. I mean, southern France is part of France, so 4.7.1b. France surrenders. Remove Western control lists and Western disputed markers from all French home areas and Belgium, Holland. So if we just, we don't really need to be going through there. So I think we mount our force in Belgium, Holland. Yeah, because once we play that card, it's going to activate both Belgium and Holland. So, yeah. And the other card that I thought we could also play, maybe. Now, hold on. No, we can't. Because the military cost for the invasion of France, Holland is 2. And this costs 2 as well. It's just this was an invasion of Turkey. The prerequisite is access controls. Excuse me. Access controls Romania, Bulgaria, and Greece, which is what we do now have. But we can't spend 4 points in the one. So if there's 2 operations phase, there's only 1 political directive phase, though, because there's not another administrative phase. Oh, okay, so that stops you from doing that. Yeah, well, I guess we're going to be going for invasion of France, Belgium, and Holland, I think. So just, I suppose, to look at that to see where we want our armies. So we actually want stuff here. We could more than likely move. To be honest, you could move. I mean, Denmark, Norway is not threatened by anything, is it? We've got to leave an army there anyway because we control it. Why don't we just move the 2 panzer armies in here? Well, why don't we make sure of this and upgrade one of these with one of our 3 replacements. Upgrade that. We could upgrade another Panzer army, and then is that a bit extreme? No, I don't think so. Well, mind you, when you do a reduction, remember you've got to do Panzer armies. Yeah, well, is that not the more reason to have more of them? I think so, maybe. I think I'm going to use... We've got one more Panzer Army available. I think I'm going to use another upgrade into there, like that. Now, okay, so that's 2. We've got one other... I don't know what else we're going to do, though. One other upgrade. I don't know. I don't know if... I mean, I started thinking I maybe just plonk something in maybe Yugoslavia on that, but I don't know if... I mean, the Soviet Union are in the 3 box here, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still got 5 steps of that to move, but should we be thinking about starting to put some armies over there? I don't know. Nah, I don't think so. I mean, we can move them across as well. Yeah, I'm just going to get another army out, I think. So I think I'll put it in Yugoslavia, because these are sort of full. Well, I say these are full. Yeah, I can't put anything in there, it's full. And if I put something in here, it means I can't put the 2 Panzer armies down. This is full. I can't go in the Italy ones. Well, that's my understanding. This is full in Greece. So yeah, I think I'll just put just a reduced army in there for my 3rd replacement point. Okay, let's go with that. Right, and then Luftwaffe replacements are at 2. So we did take some hits there, didn't we? The Southern Front got knocked. Well, I definitely want this one up 1, I would say. That's 1. Yeah, I mean, nothing's going to be happening in the East anyway, so Germany box is up anyway, so I think we put that one up another 1. Yeah, that's our 2 Wehrmacht replacements, and then we've got strategic warfare replacements. Unfortunately, they're at 0, so this might be bad. So we're still sitting at 1 with the technology, so it's going to be 1 grey dice. That's all we're getting to roll in the strategic warfare step. And there's 2 operations phases to go through with that as well in the summer. Okay, that was yeah, not so clever maybe. I mean, I did talk about the fact that we couldn't move it up to, we can't move that up to the 3 box anyway, and it was sitting at the 2, but I did sort of say it could go the other way. Events could kick it down, and then we're looking silly, sort of. Right, that was the strategic warfare replacements. Now we get the satellite replacements. Okay, so we're going to roll, well, yeah, the way I'd done it before, we would have been rolling 3 yellow dice, but then it would have broke stacking, so I had to change that little issue around. So we've got 2 countries, so we're going to roll 2 yellow dice, and we're looking for a hit. Remember, just 1 will do. And we get the 1, good. Right, so we can pick an Italy satellite replacement or a Romania-Bulgaria one. Okay, so can it go in? Oh, it needs to have land supply. Okay, it says it there. I'm just thinking about going to put it down here, but no. Roll 1 yellow die for each satellite country with armies in the force pool. Place 1 satellite army on the map. If at least 1 hit is rolled, place army in any of that country's home areas with a land supply. So if we pick the Italy one, it's going to have to either be in northern Italy or southern Italy. And we could pick the Romania-Bulgaria one, which I think it might be more useful. I don't know. There's nothing in northern Italy there, but see, the thing is, they would be able to move, wouldn't they? I mean, surely this can move from here to here. even though it's isolated. Right, okay, I'm going to take one of the Italy ones, actually. Not really sure. Again, playing the game more than once, probably tell you differently how you would deal with that. And I'm going to put it in Northern Italy, which is in land supply. Okay, that's that step. So, production table. Well, I suppose it's dependent on the card. Well, we know we want our military objective directives at 2. So, it's already at 2, so that's good. I think we're still in the same position with these production directives, aren't we? Status of France is Vichy. No. The card submarine bases have been played. No. So I can't play my production. So I'll wait, as well leaving that at 1, which is as low as it'll go. And then the other ones, well, diplomacy Yugoslavia or diplomacy Vichy. Status. Oh, we need the status of France to be Vichy for that, so we can't play that. So diplomacy Yugoslavia, we need a 5 on that. Status of France is Vichy, no. Romania, Bulgaria is neutral, no. Satellite is an Axis satellite, yes. Hungary is an Axis satellite, yes. That's a 7 we need. Don't think you can get that on a D6. Yeah, we can't do that. Right. So, well, these would both been putting up to 2 as well. So all we're playing, all directive-wise, is the military one. So that's the only one we need at 2. The rest at 1. So what have we got there then? We've got 3, 4, 5. Well, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we went up to 11. So, well, no, we can't put the Luftwaffe up anyway. So have we got enough to put that to 2? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 2, no, we've not. So it's going to go to 1, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we're sitting at 11. Yeah, well, that's as much as we can do, really. Okay, and I'm neglecting this. So that was satellite replacements, production table. We're now on to production directives. We're not doing any of them. Political directives, we're not doing any of them. Military directives, yes, we're playing. What was it? Fall Gelb? Or is it Fall Gelb? Right, anyway, let's go with the English version of it, which is the invasion of France, Belgium and Holland. Okay, so we can play this. The prerequisite is the season of summer. Do we get 2 shots at this then? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so just wondering here. Hang on. We get 2 shots at this. So the first attack could actually get us to Calais. And then the second operations phase in the summer then just moves into Paris. And we've got well, we don't get any more replacements, but we've got movements within that phase, the operations phase. So we could, if we happen to, well, we're going to take a reduction, aren't we? What I mean is, we might be able to move an army out and put another one in to upgrade it, because remember, we're not getting replacements between the 2 combats, So yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, so this is what we're playing. So by playing this activates Belgium and Holland. Right, and we do that now, don't we? 3.4.1. 3.4.1. Activating countries. Right, so we place a Western control dust in the lowest numbered free sector in each of the country's home areas but not bases. So then we're talking Belgium, Holland in the lowest number, so it goes in Antwerp. Belgium, Holland just have that one area. Yep. Place a disputed alignment marker in the alignment box of all the country's home areas. So it's disputed. Place a western alignment marker in the rest of the country's home areas, including bases. Sorry, the first bit is in all the country's home areas that contain an Axis-controlled disk, which is the case, so that's why it's disputed. And then place a western alignment marker in the rest of the country's... Well, there's no other home areas. That's it. That's all we do. Yeah. Okay. That's fine, isn't it? And we're going to get 2 point... Oh. Right, yeah, that's why, because you can attack 2 different areas. And it's areas 19 to 21. So 19, 20, 21, well, we can't get there until we get through one of these. Is there any point? Well, I mean, as long as we're placing the 1 pawn, that's fine. There are penalties to... Well, in fact... Yeah. There's big penalties in the summer as well, isn't there? I think there's a double sort of penalty to not place in 1. But we're definitely going to place 1 in Belgium, Holland. But I mean, we could go in here. Well, I didn't really strengthen that any. And we are attacking into this fortress, which gives them an extra 2 dice. I think I might just be using the 1 combat pawn and taking the easier route, I think. Okay, well, we'll get to that when we're there. Right, I might just be stopping here, I think. So we're moving into... We're moving into the first operations phase of the summer of 1940. And that comes to here, strategic warfare phase, which is not going to be great. Let me just check the time and things. Yeah, I think I better leave it for there, so it's a good place to leave it. We're only 22 minutes in there though, so I will just be on pause. But there is a possibility I might be gone now for a couple of days. We'll see if I can get the chance to sneak back. I will. Okay, I'll be back shortly. Cheers. Hi all. Right, back to continue where I left off from part. This is part 7. I think I'm about 22 minutes in there. I left things there and unfortunately wasn't able to get back for a few days. So a few days went by. I'm trying to speak a little quieter because Tracy's having a wee nap downstairs, so don't want to disturb her. Yeah, there's a few things to talk about. A mistake that I made, which I'm glad that was brought up to me. Thought I'd actually understood the mistake, then realised that I wasn't quite understanding it fully, but anyway, I'll come to that. First of all, I suppose I want to talk a little bit more about the re-roll situation, and this was when we rolled for the Allied combat. And yeah, I'm going to let me just see this in the rule book. The rest of this part may well just be me talking about these things. Whether there'll be any gameplay added here or not, I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I just wanted to check that. When you're doing strategic warfare and you're rolling the dice, the rules say that the head of production, and we're the head of everything because we're playing solo, so the head of production rolls the dice for the Axis and Western factions. That's all in the one sentence, that. And I know I might be just picking this a bit too much, and it seems that everybody's quite... It sounds like everybody's a bit more comfortable with this, but me being one that wants to be doing things by the rules, want to make sure sometimes if there's an unclear rule, I just want to be told one way or the other, really, you know? I don't really want to sort of like have that, well, it doesn't really make much difference, it's up to you. Yeah, hang on. Alright, sorry, phone call, not sure where I was there. Yeah, I might be a bit too fussy about all this, but I like to, yeah, it's the way I like to play these games. So, like I say, strategic warfare talks about rolling the dice. It doesn't say to roll them together as such, but it says roll the dice for the Axis and Western factions. And it's all in that one part. But when we're talking about combat, there's separate steps. And I know I probably went through this. Combat resolution. It's on page 25. And then there's procedures. You draw and reveal one combat card. That's step 1. You activate the generals that will participate in the combat. That's step 2. And these are rules referenced as well. Man, hang on. And I've not really got the space to show this, but maybe I can swing the camera down there and just hold it in my lap here. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at. Might be a bit wobbly though. Oops. Right, so you can see, and it's rule 6.1, and then the next one's 6.2, and then step 3 is allied combat rule 6.3, and then step 4's axis combat rule 6.4, event resolution 6.5, and then implementation of combat results 6.6. So you can see that they're separate steps, and if we look at 6.3 and 6.4, you know, this is a procedure we go through first. We roll these dice, and then this is a procedure. So the situation I had though, the general I had said that I may re-roll one of the allied combat dice. And I think, what did we roll? We rolled a hit and a tank, I think. Was it that? I think we rolled. And I realised that if I was to roll my dice before deciding to re-roll this, it would make my decision if I wanted to re-roll this. Because if I get 3 hits, that's 2 hits. I don't really want to re-roll these because I might end up with this or this, which will give some different outcome. And if I just stay with the hits, you know, I've been through all this. I think you know where I'm at. So, well, let's get on there then, because I thought I'm going to ask a question on BGG, and like I say, I think I'm possibly in the minority here about, you know, it doesn't matter, Grant. You know, just do it. Just get on with it. It doesn't matter. So I said, hi, when using a general's ability to reroll 1 die in the allied combat roll, would I be right to think that the reroll would have to occur before carrying out the axis combat roll? Because that's how I see it written in the rules. So I don't know if I've spoken about this initial reply or not. I think I might have done, but a few days have went by, so I'm not sure. So the designer, Carlos, replies, technically yes. That's how he starts his reply here. Technically yes. Which sort of says to me that is how it's written in the rules and that's how it's meant to be. But he carries on. But in practice, it is simpler to roll all dice simultaneously. Allied and axis. In practice, it is simpler to roll all dice simultaneously, allied and axis, and then perform any rerolls. It does not make much difference and it plays faster. Well, the very first time I'd done it, there was a difference that could have been made. And when I'd done the reroll, and then done my own roll, and seen that I didn't need to do that reroll, I want to say I ended up with a strategic event. No, sorry, was it a combat event? I ended up with an event that I didn't need to have if I'd done it the other way. So it does matter. And that was my reply. I was saying, okay, I did think that it may not matter much, but I just rolled 2 hits for the allies, and I have a roll to come of 1 black, 2 grey, 1 white, and 1 yellow dice. And I'll come back to that. That 1 yellow dice at the end, we'll be talking about that later as well. That's where I made a mistake. If I know I roll 3 hits, I then don't really want to re-roll, as I may get an air naval hit or a combat event. So I think in this case it does matter. And yeah, I did. When I did re-roll it, we ended up with a combat event. And I didn't need to re-roll it because the outcome I got. He says, for what it's worth, you have my permission to roll all dice simultaneously. Right? I'm not best pleased with that, I'm afraid, Carlos. You're the designer, and you know, they're your rules. I mean, you're saying you're giving me permission to do it. You've said that technically, yes, we should be rolling it. I mean, you can see what I'm saying here. It's either a rule or it's not a rule, or it's I'm not sure how to interpret that. He says, actually, that is what I do. The game is already demanding enough that it is okay if you make an informed decision when re-rolling dice. Well, you know, I carry on here. I carry on. And SAS Lord actually made a comment here as well. He says, I started rolling dice separately, but after a few turns stopped. Although given some of the dice modifiers due to combat, it is easier to get the hits before the axis dice roll early on. After a few turns, you understand the game flows. It's actually very smooth. I'm getting it still, but it doesn't take away from the first time that it's come up for me that if I do it the way I've done it, it's different from the way that they're saying. You get more information, and you can, it's easier for you as a player if you roll all the dice at once. Which technically with these, well, I usually find with these things is the AI of the box generally gets the better part of that. So I replied, "Hi Carlos, having your permission to roll all the dice simultaneously is fine, as you are the designer, then I can't really argue with this case. However, the situation I had could have made a difference in how this process was carried out. I understand that it makes the game flow better, but wouldn't it then be better to have 6.3 and 6.4 combined, as they seem to be individual separate steps within the sequence of play? I don't mind a demanding game, in fact I thrive on more demanding games. Sorry, I'm not in any way trying to rewrite the rulebook or be a PITA. I'll let you work out what that stands for. But just want to follow the rules in the sequence they're laid out." So he replied, "I made different sections for the Axis and Allied die rolls for, I can't say that word, pedagogical reasons." I don't even know what that means. There you go. I'm assuming the other thing is he's Spanish, so whether his English comes through perfect or not, and I'm not knocking that, because there's no way if it was Spanish I'd be able to understand any of it. Anyway, there was too much information and too complex, and I thought it would be easier for players to proceed that way. That's fine. I just think that if you want us to roll all the dice at the one time, then just have something in there that says that, because it does make a difference, and I've proved it already in the very first combat we had. Well, I'm not sure if it was the very first combat, but so it does make a difference. Carries on. Once I decided this, it made sense to have players roll each side's dice after they calculate how many dice they have, memory-wise, rather than having one more section just saying, "Now roll all dice." So I see what he's saying there. It's like, rather than try and remember, then you work out the Allied ones, roll them, then you work out the German ones, roll them. In practice, you can calculate and put aside the Allied dice you need, and then move on to calculate the Axis dice. Then you can roll them all together. This is the way I teach the game, and in most cases it does not make any difference. It did here, and I understand in most cases it probably won't. He agrees with it. He says, "In a few cases when re-rolling is involved, it does make a little difference, so by all means play it any way you want." So again, he's saying there, he's giving me permission to do it, roll all the dice together, but he's also saying play it any way you want. So I just said, "Okay, Carlos, thanks for the explanation. As I feel it will matter on occasion, I will carry on the way I have started." I still just don't really know what to do. If you look at most videos, look at saying, right, how many dice do the Allies roll in? Right, 2. How many dice do the German roll in? Right, they're roll in 2 grey, a yellow and a black. And then they put them all together, and then they roll all the dice. Right? So I think that's where you'll see most people doing it. I'm going to carry on doing it the way it is. I'd preferred Carlos to have come back with a more stronger sort of, but he seems to be sort of saying you do it that way or do it the other way. So, but he admits the way he does it is rolling the dice together, so maybe I should just be doing that. Anyway, I'll probably just carry on the way I've been doing it, and we'll see if any more is said about it or whatever. Okay, so I suppose linked to that, there was a comment on part 6 on my YouTube video from, I can only assume his name's Tim. He's commented a few times before. He says rolling the dice together does not change anything. It doesn't change anything. If I'm rolling 2 blue dice for the Allies, and I'm rolling 2 black, 1 grey and 1 yellow for the Axis, then rolling them separately isn't going to change. Yeah, you're still going to be rolling all them. He said all rolls are still random. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's not really what I'm saying though. Rolling together gives you more info now. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The rolling them all together gives you all the info that you need to make a decision on whether you want to re-roll. So rolling together gives you more info now to make a decision about if a reroll is needed and eliminates debating the decision before you know the outcome. Yeah, there's nothing that you've said is wrong there, Tim, but my question, well, my reply was you're correct in that rolling them all together will give you all the info required to adjust / re-roll the dice. But my view on the sequence in making the roll is that the allied die are rolled first. As you can see in the playthrough, this did make a difference to the outcome. And then I linked them to the thread that I've just been reading out on BGG. Anyway, right, we'll leave that there, right, and then, yeah. Right, let's move on to, I had a feeling there was something else. Hang on a minute. Yeah, okay, this was another question I think I may have talked about in the playthrough. I went and posted the question. Hi all, when using a general's ability to cancel an air naval result, can this ability be used to cancel the air naval reduction from the special effect roll, or can it only be used within the allied combat roll? Which I kind of thought was the case. And SAS Lord replies, I read the rules as it cancels an air hit during a combat roll sequence, which doesn't really that doesn't really answer my question. I don't think it is. The way he's worded it anyway. So I had to reply, and with this, do you consider any special effects rolled within the sequence? I asked because of the wording here, and the wording in 6.3 Allied Combat Roll says, the result in the combat card may include a special effect, which must be resolved before the Allied Combat Roll. And that's what got me thinking that. However, we did get a reply from Carlos again, who is very good at answering all the questions out on BGG. He maybe doesn't get the first reply, but he does get around to saying something about them all, I think. I don't think I've not seen his name on any of the threads. So he replies, generals who affect die rolls do not affect special effects, and this is definitely the case with von Bock, which is the one that I was talking about. So where is von Bock? Which he must have known. Maybe he's the only one that does that. So it says cancel one, and it's got the blue air, or if it was the Soviet one, the red air, result in the Allied combat roll. But that's just when you're rolling the dice. It does not cancel the special effect, which is kind of what I thought. Generals who affect dice rolls do not affect special effects. Okay. I think there's some generals that say you ignore certain special effects. I think that is not what that's saying. It's saying it's going to ignore any blue dice, well, one blue dice result of that, you know? One air hit result. So, okay, excellent, thanks Carlos, that was my reply. Okay. Right, so getting round to my mistake. And this was Martin picked up this. And it was also including the battle in Greece here. So the battle in Greece, and after making that blunder before about Yugoslavia, I see somebody else made a question about that, about being able to attack from neutral Yugoslavia into Greece, because it seemed like the rules weren't would allow it in that, and it was Martin replied that had been asked before. Well, obviously I'd went and asked about it, and the designer had sort of added that extra sort of word in within the rule. What is it? Non-neutral. It had to come from a non-neutral area in the attack. Anyway, so yeah, once we got that worked out, so we were attacking from Romania, Bulgaria. Now we were attacking with these three and that. We had one black, two grey, and a yellow in that area. Stacking limit of that area is 4. So I rolled one black dice, two grey dice, one yellow dice for the 4 armies. I rolled one white dice because we had that 5. Now, this is where I started thinking wrong about what. Well, what about the rule that Martin mentioned? I was thinking wrong about it at first, but I'll get to that in a second. Or I'll try and explain that. I don't know why I need to, but it took a while for the penny to drop for me with this one, what he said. But it's pretty simple, really. Although, could I see other people looking at that and not quite getting it? Maybe. It might just be a me thing, though. So, yeah, 1 black, 2 grey, 1 yellow, 1 white for the air naval, and then we also rolled an extra grey dice, didn't we? Now I've actually not seen the outcome of this, so let me go and find that in the video and have a look at it. Okay, the yellow dice did turn out to be a hit actually when I rolled it, but I had 3 other hits as well. That yellow dice shouldn't have counted, and well, I'll just explain why in a second. So I had 3 hits rather than 4, but they only had 1 hit, so we still won the battle. Like Martin says, his comment was, the battle in Greece was indeed overkill. So I rolled 6 dice, and when I read Martin's comment, after I found out I rolled 6 dice, I thought, I actually rolled more than 1 dice too many. And I'll tell you why I thought that. So anyway, let me finish his comment. The battle in Greece was indeed overkill, but I believe he rolled 1 too many dice. And he highlights the rule in 6.4. It's right at the beginning. It says, roll dice up to the stacking limit of the combat area. So I was like, So my reply to what was, oops, I've completely read through this rulebook 3 times now, and I've never registered that rule. Thanks for bringing it to attention. I've read through this rulebook 3 times from cover to cover, and I never once registered. I read over the rule, and I'm not sure what I was thinking about it being. So the rule says, roll 1 axis combat die. This is on page 27, 6.4. Roll 1 axis combat die of the appropriate colour for every... I'm going to bring this one in here. I know the usual strange angle, but I just want to point at the other stuff here as well. So this is what I'm reading. Roll 1 axis combat die of the appropriate colour for every Axis army in the area activated. So that's what I did, and we had 4 armies in the activated area, right? However, Martin's saying I should have only rolled 3 because of this next sentence, which says up to the stacking limit of the combat area. Now it's in bold there as well. And then the number of dice must be modified if the following conditions apply. And then you've got air naval value at 5, defenders and rough, and then the paratroopers down here are also going to alter that, which is what we used as well. That's why we ended up rolling 6 dice. So I'm like, I hadn't really registered that rule. So he's saying that I've rolled 1 extra dice. I rolled 6 dice. So he's saying I should roll 5. But then I'm looking here, because this is the number I'm thinking here. And remember, this is where we attacked from. So I'm getting this wrong right away. When I'm first reading what he said, I'm saying, I can only roll 4 dice. And then I thought that the armies, I had 4 armies, and I've rolled over the 4. That's not what it says at all, is it? But that's the way I started thinking, and I was about to reply to him. I was about to say, actually, I've rolled 2 more dice than I should have done. I should have rolled only 4 dice, not 6 or 5. And Martin seemed to be saying I'd roll 1 too many, which was, I rolled 6, and he said I should have rolled 5. And he's right. But I just, this was throwing me a bit, and then the penny dropped, and I was like, I see what it is now, because it's up to the stacking limit of the combat area. The combat area, as we know, is Greece. The stacking limit is 3. So, although I had 4 armies there, only 3 of them can be used for the attack. Now, I assume you get to pick the 3, and that's why I say the yellow dice wouldn't have counted, because clearly I would have picked the black army, Black Panzer army, and 2 grey regular armies, and I wouldn't have used the... that's a point. There's a point then. If this army didn't attack, or wasn't considered, could he still have advanced? I never thought about that, actually. Let's think about that one for a minute. Actually, I think maybe not here. But probably just leave this in the video, although I might go and ask a question just to get confirmation. So I'm looking at page 29, advance and retreat. 6.71 advance. I'm just looking down the paragraph. Says, you know, this is if the Allied controlled us was in the 1 sector, place a new Axis controlled us in that sector, do not move. Right. Then the head of operations may move all the armies that participated in combat to the combat area without exceeding stack limits. It's not obligatory to move all the involved armies, but at least one army must be moved. So that sounds to me like that yellow satellite army wasn't involved without exceeding stack limits. Because if we are only allowed to roll 3 dice out of the 4, then one of these armies didn't participate, did they? I'm going to change that over. Let me know your thoughts on that one, guys. It might be that even though that army wasn't considered for a die roll, it could still have advanced, but it feels more thematic that should have been the outcome. It should have been it that stayed behind. I think I was initially going to leave this one behind, but then I thought, this has got a partisan marker in it as well, so we need to leave an army in there but when we vacate Greece, and that's why I was going to leave the satellite army. So let's do that, but let me know if you feel that I could have done it the way I done it. It seems to me that maybe that's a better way. That's how it should have been. So that was good to be brought to my attention anyway. And like I say, I should have been rolling 5 dice, not the yellow dice. I would have got 3 hits rather than the 4, so it was still, the outcome was still the same. Carlos had a wee comment on that thread as well on YouTube. I was just about to write about this mistake, but you have a really attentive and informed audience. Martin obviously picking up on that. I think this is the first rule slip I have seen, and this is remarkable for a first game. I myself tend to forget things like recurring events, and I had to check the rulebook for specific procedures, like creating Vichy, to make sure I do them right. Well, I'll certainly be needing to do that. I'm really enjoying these videos, so good. I say yes, I'm a stickler for the rules. I generally have someone keeping me right most of the time. But yes, I do try my best to follow the rules carefully myself. Glad you're enjoying the playthrough. I'm enjoying playing your game. So, there we go. So thanks for that, Martin, and thanks for your kind words as well, Carlos. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Right, I think we could maybe get a little bit of gameplay in before I have to shut things up here. Right, okay, let's get a little bit of gameplay just to finish this part 7. I see there's 2 armies here and an AG head empty. However, we're just approaching the command step, so I'm going to assume that we've not missed this, and we're just when this happens, what we should do is put a vacancy marker in there. I'm pretty sure that's what probably we should do, but you can see how easily you might be able to miss these with armies moving about and things. Could well be that I deployed an army into here and just not realised it. But anyway, we're just a couple of steps away from that. In fact, we might be able to squeeze that in before I finish up here. Okay, I think that's everything spoken about. So, where are we? We're on the strategic... We've just moved into the operations phase, and we're in the strategic warfare step, which isn't great, because we got knocked back 1 on the strategic warfare track, and we're only going to get to roll 1 dice here. Right, and I've just realised I don't have my tablet up the stairs with me here, and that's what I was using to look at the cards. So we'll just need to do things, because I'm not going to go to... I'm only going to be here another 10 minutes or so anyway, I think. Well, right, I decided to go and get my tablet after all, just since I've been using that. So, strategic warfare. Determine the number of dice for Axis and Allied factions, and I like to say it just says... Yeah, well, within the card it says roll for the Axis, roll for the Allies, but anyway. I have been rolling these together. I'm not sure if it would matter or not here. So we're rolling 1, but remember we do have the technology at 1 as well, so it will be a grey dice. So 1 grey dice for us, and then for the Allies we're going to roll draw a card, aren't we? Draw. What am I drawing? A combat card. Yeah, strategic warfare value. So here we are. So it's the column on the left. 1940. Column on the left is 1. So they're going to roll 1 dice, and that card's done. So it's 1 against 1 here. And yeah, here we go. Let's roll. I don't think that's a good result. They've got a plane and we've got an event symbol, so the plane is 1 hit and the event is a strategic event. That's a terrible result for me then. So the Western hits are great. Well, hang on. Let's draw a strategic event card first. There's not too many of these left. There's only 2 of these left. Is that right? Yeah, it seems like quite a lot of combat events, not so many strategic events. Maybe we've been through a few of them already though. Okay, so this is a strategic event. I'm getting a low battery. Right, that's the icon that doesn't matter in co-op or solo. So it's a blue one. If Italy is neutral or its status is not independence, then I think we're discarding the card. Right, hang on though. If Italy is neutral, well, it's not. Or its status is not independence. Its status is independence and it's not neutral. It's a satellite. Yeah, okay. So if Egypt is disputed, apply 1 axis retreat. If Egypt, that's 28, is disputed, apply 1 axis retreat in the area. It's not. Right, let's go and have a look at Egypt to make sure. And yeah, the Italy part, you've got Northern Italy, Southern Italy, and well, Libya is one of theirs as well. And these are all under our control, satellites, and the state of Italy is independent, so the card's not getting discarded. So there's Egypt. So if Egypt is disputed, it's not, apply 1 axis retreat in the area. If Egypt 21 is not disputed, right, apply 1 axis retreat in Libya. In either case, flip the status of Italy marker to its intervention side. Okay, so Egypt is not disputed. So if it's not, we're going to apply 1 axis retreat in Libya. So that's going back to Algeria then. Oh, Algeria. Is that right? Does that stay there though? Yeah, it does until they. I don't think a Western control marker goes there, does it? Or does it? No, because then that would make this disputed, and that's not really what it's saying. It's just saying there's 1 retreat there. If Egypt is not disputed, apply 1 axis retreat in Libya. In either case, flip the status of Italy marker to its intervention side. Right, so we've done the retreat. We'll flip that to its intervention side. So we might want to just check what that means. And also, when it says apply 1 axis retreat, so just in case there's any more to that, retreat on page 29 says, in order to apply a retreat, move the axis control disk to the next lower number sector, which we did. Move the allied control disk to the sector vacated by the axis control disk. Retreats must be applied even after all armies in the area have been eliminated. Right, hang on though. If the axis control disk was in the highest number sector in the area, place a new allied control disk in that sector. If the area is a USSR home area, place a Soviet control disk. Even if retreat was a consequence of a Western attack, it's not a USSR home area. Remove the occupied or satellite alignment marker from the area's alignment box and replace it with a disputed marker. Alright, well I assume that is what's happening then, because that's part of the retreat. And I mean, it does just say on the card there, apply apply 1 axis retreat. So this must go here, and this then goes away and becomes disputed. Okay, and then with the state of stability is now intervention, and then we just discard this card. Not the right bit. No, that goes there. Yeah, strategic event. Right, status. Let me see what that. I think it allows us to put armies in there now. Oh, I flipped to the right page there. 8.1 Italy on page 33. So that says intervention. A maximum of 1 German army may be in 1 single Italian home area at any given time, albeit included. Interventions trigger the result of the strategic event card Italy defeated in Africa, which is what that. Well, it says Italy defeated in Libya. Maybe that's maybe that's a change that they made. The card was called Italy defeated in Libya. It's got Italy defeated in Africa in the rulebook here, but or the political directive card Africa Corps. So yeah, I think that's right. So we can now have 1 German army within one of these 3 areas, I think. Okay, right, and then back to strategic warfare result. The Axis had, so Western faction has more hits than the Axis hits. They got 1, we got 0. Distributed difference in hits as reductions to the strategic warfare and Germany air naval control tracks. That's going to be tough then. Right, we managed to get our strategic warfare replacements up to just 1. But we've got to take this hit either on this track or that track. And by going down to there, it means we're getting a reduction on our replacements. And when does that trigger? That triggers in the bombing. That's the bombing of Germany step, isn't it? And that means we get -1 replacements. We don't want that. I think I'm going to have to take it on this, which isn't great either, but so now our strategic warfare is at 0. Okay, let's go with that then. Right, pushing on then. So that was our strategic warfare step. Now movement. Right, well things might be happening here. So I just reminded myself where we're at. We've got full Gilb, is it? Invasion of France, Belgium, and Holland. We've got 2 pawns, but I think I recall speaking about. I do need to place one of them, or that's a complete waste of time, and we lose out on things. But I don't think I need to place both, because I think I was thinking that I only want to. I don't want to attack here because this is attacking at the fortress. So I think this is where I want to make my attacks here. We're going to get an extra AG head there as well. Although you only get to use one of them, so. And this way I can attack into here and advance into Calais. And what do we need to do? We need to take Paris. Of course, this is just the first operations phase of the summer, isn't it? We're in the summer, so aye. And then next turn I take Paris, I suppose. I still wasn't sure though, is it maybe not worthwhile still having an attack with this? I don't know. Just the fact they're going to get 2 extra dice for that, I think. Okay. So, well, I need more armies here. I need 2 armies in there. We've taken Denmark, Norway, so. And the only connection actually to Denmark, Norway is from here, isn't it? So we don't need the armies up there. So was it a case of just knocking the 2 Panzer armies down into Belgium, Holland? That was probably my thinking, wasn't it? How many movement points do I have? I have 5 in the Western Front. So 5 operational movement points. Yeah, I probably don't need 5, do I? So, no. Yeah, I think I'm going to move these 2 down. It seems to make sense. We need to leave something there, so it's going to have to be that. I was thinking here, like, well, I can move the satellite army up to there or switch places with that. You know what? I probably should do that. So that's 2 movement. There's 3 movement. And there's 4 movement. And I'll leave the last one. Now, when that happens, von Bock is going away. This becomes the vacancy, I want to say. And von Bock just goes away for now. It might be him that fills that vacancy. But let's take his card away as well. And he's available. Yeah, and I've got one other movement point, but I'm not going to do anything with that on that front anyway. Right, and then on the the Eastern Front, what was the issue that I'd had? I'd left that there, hadn't I? So, see, Greece has still got Turkey attached to it though, so I'm not sure I want to bail everything out of Greece. Yeah. Right, but what about the Libya situation then? Now, if isolated, what can I still move armies into there? Isolated area 4.72. 4.72. Where are you? Isolated marker. And the army spots areas without a land supply. It's not telling me what isolated does. Must tell me somewhere. I know. See, it should tell you here. I know if I go to roll dice, I want to say Panzer armies become black dice become grey dice, and grey dice become white dice. In fact, is it not on the page before here? Combat. It's not there. No, I'm not finding what I'm looking for here. Let's move further on. That's the next bit, I think. Axis combat roll. See, that's annoying. That should be telling you. Right, hang on. There we go. In the area, if the area has a nice, this is an Axis combat roll, 6.4, page 27. And this doesn't affect the allies, I don't believe. So if the area is isolated from an ally's point of view, it doesn't make any odds. However, it says if the I've lost it now. If the area had an isolated marker, roll grey combat dice for panzer armies and roll white combat dice for regular armies. Reduced and satellite armies are not affected. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's the only thing that affects, that matters when if the area is isolated. I think that's the only thing. If somebody wants to tell me there is something else that's affected, but it's a bit annoying. It references isolated in the index at 4.72, and 4.72 is a supply check, which involves maybe isolating an area, but that's then all it tells you. Yeah, and if it has a resource, there's the other thing. If an area with a resource symbol becomes isolated, subtract 1 from the resource value. So that is another thing, but this one's fortunately not. So Okay. Right, well, I think I might want to move. Now, we can only have one German army here, but there's a couple other satellite armies that could. The maximum stacking limit for this is 3. Remember, if I bring a Panzer army, it becomes a grey. Yeah, probably should do that though, shouldn't I? So, well, there's another slight problem. Because our movement, our operational movement in the Eastern Front is only 2. So I'm not going to get... Well, I'm going to get enough. So do we move this from Greece into here? And I'm assuming I can move it from here. This is in these... sorry, we're in the Southern Front here, Grant. That's better then. We've got 4. I'm forgetting. I'm in the wrong area. So I've got 4 movement. So I could move this from here to here. And I believe I can do that, even though this isn't connected and we don't have a... You know, that's why we're isolated. We don't have a supply connection, but I don't think there's anything to say I can't. It's moving from front to front. Well, let's look up operational movement. What does it say? From an area to... Move armies as follows. From an area to another area in the same front with an axis-controlled disk. Axis-controlled disk. Same front. Yeah. Another one is from an area in a front to an adjacent area in another front with an axis-controlled disk. Movement... Oh, hold on. Movement to or from an area with a naval supply marker is limited to 1 army per front. Okay, so there's another restriction then. Although that's based on the naval supply marker. Well, hold on. This doesn't have a naval supply marker, because that's what that is. It has an isolated marker. That's making me start to wonder then. Well, let's look up movement in the rulebook in case it mentions something again about isolated areas. So, operational movement I want to look for. Well, that's why you have to go and look at the actual rule for what you're doing, I suppose. But it's a little bit of a shame there isn't a sort of... I mean, there's an index reference of isolated area, and I would have liked to have seen maybe these rules in that rule 4.7.2, because where I am now, page 15, 4.2.1, operational movement, it says armies cannot be moved to or from areas with an isolated marker. So we can't do this, which makes sense, but I would have liked to have seen it. When I looked up the index reference for isolated, it would have been nice to have seen that. Again, maybe these things in the future can be, you know, made better, but it might just be me. I mean, when I go to the section that what I'm trying to do here, I then find out that I can't do it because it's isolated. So, well, I can't do nothing now then, can I? I can't move anything. And I don't know if I could I have deployed, so that's replacements. I think we looked this up before though, didn't we? Replacements, 3.12a. Just I suppose while it's in my head. 3.12a. Mark replacements. I'm looking for the word isolated. Here we go. Isolation. Wehrmacht replacements cannot be added to areas with an isolated marker. There you go. So, I probably am being a bit fussy there. The rule is in the rule of what you're trying to do. But, yeah, the reference in the index is a bit... Yeah, I didn't see the point in having that there, really. But... Or, if it's there, maybe add a bit more to it. Okay, maybe I'm being too fussy. Right, well, I don't think we can move, we want to bother moving anything then. And these, and the Eastern Front, well, that's got to stay there. That doesn't, neither does that. But, I think I'll just leave things the way they are just now. Yeah, well, right. seconds. I'm running out of battery power here, running out of time. Right, yeah, I'm going to have to wrap things up here anyway. So, I don't think strategic movement wise that's moving in things into strategic movement box and moving from front to front. I also don't think I need to be doing any of that. Maybe there's some obvious bits that you'll notice that I maybe should be doing something here, but I'm just going to leave it. So, air movement, just before we go, could we, maybe that's something I didn't think about. Something I didn't think about was if we'd taken the reduction there for the strategic warfare, although it says, you'll see it in red, that you cannot reduce the value of this during the movement segment, you cannot reduce it, so I can't put that down to say put that up, right? However, what I can do is I could put that down to put that up. I can put that up to the right, I just can't put it to the left. So maybe I should have taken the hit on this instead of that, but we'll just let it go anyway. So is there anything I do want to adjust? Well, we want to make sure that this is at 5, which it is, so I think we're fine probably. I think we just want to, this is down at 4. Yeah, I should have done that actually. So I could have nudged that down to 3 probably, and then put that back up to 5, and then this would still be sitting at 1. Ah well, you learn these things, You learn these things. Right, that's it. So I'm just going to have to stop there. That's moving on to the command step. We do have not any dismissals to check, any question generals, but we've got a vacancy there, we've got a vacancy there. So next chance I get, I'll come back and get that dealt with. Okay, better get away for now. Yeah, I'll get some done this week, hopefully. Still enjoying it, been itching to get back and just not had the chance over the last few days. So, okay, I'll be back soon. Cheers.